Hi, everybody. Welcome to this interview today. I am Tara Lutman. I'm the co-founding partner at GoGlobal. GoGlobal helps technology startups around the world grow, scale, and expand abroad. And we do this because we believe that technology has the power to address the world's greatest challenges at scale. And it is my pleasure today to introduce you to Victoria Senkpiel. She's one of our very first tech founders. And I wanted to have this conversation with Victoria today for a number of reasons. Number one is because I wanted to put a face to a lot of the conversation that we put out in our Instagram feed and on LinkedIn about who our startups are. I wanted to put a face to this and show you how we enjoy working with visionaries, innovators, people who are seeing the problems and also see how technology can be applied to solve the problems. So I'm really delighted to introduce you to Victoria today. And I will be leading her through an interview style to give you a better picture of who she is, the work that she's doing, and how by working with GoGlobal, she was able to move herself along her entrepreneurial path and journey. So with that, I think I will dive in. I'm going to look at my notes here as we go along. Not a professional journalist or interviewer, so, but I hope that you'll also get a taste of the authenticity here. So Victoria came to us early on in our GoGlobal founding, and she came to us with an idea that we understood from the very beginning was big, be able to scale big. It was going to have big impact. We saw in Victoria vision, passion, purpose. And, I always say, I wish I had 10 Victorias. If I had 10 Victorias, I could probably conquer the world. So with that, I'm going to ask Victoria, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your background and then, why you came to GoGlobal, but just so people can understand, who are you? How did you start your entrepreneurial journey? And then, we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Tara. Mm-hmm. Quite an introduction. Thank you. So I'm Victoria, and I am tech entrepreneur. I have a background within business and marketing. And prior to doing my startup, I was part of the startup world, working with beauty box subscription services under Rocket Internet. And I was part of basically building up a new marketing platform for beauty products and sampling, which was between 2011 and 2017. The company I was working for then was acquired, which was great to have done be part of such a successful journey. And only to realize that just because you've done it once, it's nothing that you can take for granted. Mm-hmm. So when I finished that journey, I still had very much a passion for personalization. I was always, as a marketer, very passionate about trying to help businesses find the right type of customer for their type of product, and in this case, but for beauty. And when I was working in beauty box subscription industry, it was basically during a time when e-commerce was on the rise, but the personalization technologies that we see today and hear about as buzzwords as machine learning and AI wasn't prevalent when I was working. And I sort of saw that now that technology was coming on the scene, I wanted to take my knowledge of really how you beauty matchmake and bring it as a new technology for the beauty industry. And I also saw that the better that you could match these two customers with beauty brands, you could also have an impact on the environment, because we'd really make sure that it's we're getting the right product, and the purpose of sampling would be more controlled. So I had done a small test of the model in Scandinavia, and I had acquired my first customers, and I had acquired my first initial angel funding. And I came to GoGlobal at that point because I was ready to take the next step. I was ready to also internationalize, because I saw that this model was more than Scandinavia, and I wanted to bring it out to Scandinavia, because after all, Scandinavia is quite small. So I was very fortunate to come in contact with GoGlobal and to discuss my next steps for my venture, and really look at it from a much more sort of business sense, and a fundraising sense, and an international sense. And that's really where, yeah, the start of our, how do you say, collaboration.
Yes. Oh, very good, very good. So you touched on several things there. One is internationalizing. So going outside of Scandinavia, because you and we also could see that it did have a global application, and that you could see how the technology was going to have a positive impact, not only on the environment, but also just in the customer journey for beauty, that there would be, through personalization, a better experience there. And I always like to look for, win-win-win. How can all the stakeholders win? So I think we were aligned in this, Victoria. Can you describe what it was like for you to work with GoGlobal on a day-to-day basis? What did that look like? What was required of you? What did we bring? How did you used a good word, collaboration? So how did the collaboration work for you on a day-to-day basis, so people can understand, they're thinking about working with GoGlobal, what they can expect?
So I think there were on a day-to-day level, I mean, for where I was at, we were really like preparing my pitch. So we were really, I mean, they were both like intense together, which were much more like day-to-day. And then we had periods where I was being more coached and mentored by GoGlobal with regards to helping me to fine-tune my idea based on the type of feedback we would be getting when we, for example, together were in different types of pitch meetings with investors or with partners. So, and that would be more of a sort of a co-creative process where you would help me structure my ideas and be there like for the support, but it was about me kind of working even closely with my idea. So there was both this, like there was a lot of there was coaching and collaboration. And I think that made it really strong. And when we were, for example, working with pitching, when we were meeting with investors, we'd have different pitches. We'd have the 10-minute pitch, we'd have the 2-minute pitch. I mean, and all this is like nothing that you can take for granted. And neither how much work it is. And there it was really about having someone who gives you a very honest opinion, very professional opinion, tells it to your face, like, this, you got to work on more. This was really good. And I think there was this great aspect of really, attention to detail and never sort of giving up and always fine tuning and being better. And you really pushed me at that.
Good. Hopefully in a kind way, I hope.
Yeah.
Thank you, Victoria. We did get you in front of investors and we did get the feedback, but we also put you together with a couple of mentors from our network. Can you describe what that experience was like for you and what you took away from those meetings that you had with mentors?
So I think this is one of the core strengths of GoGlobal, is this global network that you have, and this, well, I would almost call it for you a personalization technology to matchmake. Matchmake the entrepreneur with the right partners and the right people that can really help to build the business. Because I think like you need people who believe in the idea, understand the idea, and apply their own professional business sense and challenge it. And for the partners and the mentors that GoGlobal helped me with, it was people within the VC world, within, for example, beauty ventures, VCs, as well as executive, partners who were very much focused on expansion and marketing within really big beauty companies. And these type of players, and in those type of really valuable mentors and really high up professional mentors. They really help to challenge and to also make sure that what you were working on was really fit in the real world. And I think this was really, really, really one of the true assets of GoGlobal, this ability to matchmake and understand the business, what you're trying to do, and then connect with these right people and let them also be a part of the journey. Because I think that became a real win-win.
Thank you, Victoria. So this is good feedback for us too. So it means, bring in, and if you're watching this, bring in more of such mentors, because they really do add value to the strategy. So that's good feedback for us. Can you talk about, Victoria, some of your outcomes, achievements, the things that you were able to accomplish during our journey together?
I think my biggest accomplishment and my great homage to GoGlobal is that you helped form me to the entrepreneur that I am today. And I say that both from a very personal perspective, but also from a professional one, that really having worked with you and having done our journey together, of course, we were a little bit challenged with the COVID times.
Sure.
So COVID on top of fundraising in a very sort of turbulent investment environment was a challenge that we worked through together. And you were like, having had your personal and professional support in this journey has really shaped me and matured me as, I would say, a human being and as a professional. And I think this is a really great, I'm really thankful for it. And I think being able, because you have to both have the real life, I mean, as much as you can get caught up in your idea and your vision, it's as much important to remember real life and a person behind everything. And to be able to balance these in the type of work that we did together is something that has really been really close to my heart. So being able to mature and also learn within the process that it's totally okay to pivot, and that by pivoting, you're actually succeeding, because like I said once before in the beginning, success is nothing that you can take for granted if you've had it once. Most good entrepreneurs are the ones who don't give up. You're lucky if you get it right the first time, but most don't. And to also be able to work with GoGlobal on those type of insights and understanding what they actually mean can give you strength to keep going. And that's very much where I'm at now. I've been, really fine-tuning, working with my vision, working with my passion, and realizing that the real path is actually the entrepreneurial journey. Mm-hmm. So, and this is a maturity. And when you realize that, it actually becomes a very powerful force within. And that's thanks to you.
Well, I'm glad you touched on that, because I always say, okay, technology can address our challenges at scale, but it's people who are building technology, and people should also benefit from the technology. So focusing on the people, we like to bring a holistic approach. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I want to be also very transparent. Some of what GoGlobal does is in order to help a startup grow, is to seek growth capital. And we were able to connect you with an investor. And this investor, said that he was committed up to 7 figures. So we got very close. It was very exciting. Maybe the story is not ended there. It hasn't come to a close. We haven't been able to close that. But can you talk about how that experience was from you, and how GoGlobal supported you through the negotiations, discussing the terms, so that someone else watching this can have an idea what to expect when you engage with an investor, and that it's not always like a slam dunk. What's involved in that journey, and how you felt supported, or the challenges, what you learned from that.
Well, like you said, it's the process, like of closing the money, and that whole process with the investor, from the first meeting to the actual basically term sheet, is such a dynamic and intense process. And with GoGlobal, you were really with me the whole way, from being part of the negotiations and for facilitating actually the negotiations, and being on both basically the entrepreneur side, but also understanding the investor side. And I think that's a really important balance, because it needs to be a win-win for both parties. And and that's everything from how much money to raise, what the terms are, how to think about the type of agreement that you do, both within share and convertibles. I mean, there's so many technical parts of the whole journey up until the final slam dunk, like you say, that require a lot of knowledge and experience, and managing the parties within. And this, I also felt like it was a really strong asset of GoGlobal, to one, feel the trust that GoGlobal, one, were on both our sides, because it's about feeling that GoGlobal were representing you, but they were also listening to the investor. And I think that's important, of being able to also feel that GoGlobal had the knowledge and the experience of knowing, okay, what is the best type of deal to go for, and making sure that these terms are really a win-win for both parties, and facilitating that, I think, is really something of the great strengths of GoGlobal. And then, of course, I mean, with all deals, I mean, and I think that's important to say, that a deal is never closed until the money's in the bank account, and that goes for anything. It's not specific to any I mean, I think it's an important thing that in the end, it can always be last minute things that happen, personal things, time. I mean, these things are out of GoGlobal's control. They're out of my control. It's just, things happen. So I think it's, there is never a guarantee in the end, but it's about making sure that you did everything you could to really get to that point. And that's where I think GoGlobal added tremendous value.
Thank you, Victoria. So I want to shift now a little bit, because now you're a GoGlobal mentor. So we've I always said if I had 10 Victorias, I could conquer the world. So we're not letting you go. As we continue with you on your journey as an entrepreneur and founder, we also recognize, before we met you, how much how much of an asset you are with your experience, your drive, your vision, but also as you have matured as a founder, as a leader, how much value you can add to our other startups. So I think this is a great testimonial for what we've created, an ecosystem that you have agreed to become a part of. So, kind of the way we can end this up, kind of tie up this interview. What advice do you have for other startup founders? Because I know you're doing some advising and consulting, non-GoGlobal companies, but you have worked with one of our companies so far. What are maybe one or two things that you're seeing that you would advise to people that are more at the beginning of their journey? What advice would you give?
I certainly think that being able to work with, for example, GoGlobal, or really an incubator accelerator that can help with more of the support around the initial part of the journey, is really important, because there is a lot, and there is so many unknowns, and you don't know what you don't know. But the more that you are surrounded with good, knowledgeable people who understand what you're trying to do and who can help you in the critical initial stage, the greater is the chance that you will succeed. And I think this is really important, that you also have to let go of your ego and realize that, okay, I don't know everything. And if you do let your ego down, but keep your willpower, this will really help you to succeed in really getting past the most critical parts. Another good advice that I have is what I've said from my own journey. Never take success for granted, and always stay humble to success. I think that's really important. But also never be afraid to give up on your greater passion that you have within this force. Because even if that force might not work out in exactly that context that you had foreseen that it was going to happen, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have another place in another journey. And that's the one that you have to foster and mature and keep working with, because it's a type of force that will mean you will succeed in the very end.
Very well said. Thank you, Victoria. So with that, I think we can bring this to a close, but I will include somewhere in the vicinity of this video, whether you're watching it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, a way for you to get in touch with Victoria if you'd like to connect with her. And I'll also give you the ways to connect with GoGlobal. So I would love to hear from you. If you are a tech founder, if you are running an incubator, accelerator, if you're an investor and you're watching this and you got something out of it, please share your top takeaway in the comments or screenshot this video, share it on Instagram, tag us. You can tag Victoria, you can tag Esther, me, and GoGlobal, and share your top takeaway. If you got value, please share it also with someone who you think could benefit from what Victoria shared today. So with that, I will sign off. I will wish you a good day, and very excited to hear what it is you're working on in technology, in innovation, and in your own journey for building technology that's going to address some of our big challenges. So thank you, Victoria. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.